soccer. Hi, I'm Sarah and you are watching Acid Burn Saya, where I talk about books, and today I'm going to be talking about Alex Scott's memoir, which is How Not to Be Strong. Alex Scott is a retired female footballer who is now a presenter, who was born in the UK. She is mixed race. I originally bought this, I listened to this as a memoir. I bought it because Apple audiobooks had it on offer at $4.99. So I thought, you know what? Yes, I like Alex Scott. I knew her from Strictly and I watched her on the one show presenting. I really liked her. I liked her personality. I liked the shine that came off her. I really liked her. We had it in work and it was in the charts. So I was like, oh, yes, I'm very interested in reading this. So I put it on my November TBR, and so I've read it and this is my review for it. There's so much I didn't know about her. I mean, I knew she was a footballer. After she was on the Graham Norton promoting it with Taylor Swift. And I was like, oh no, I forgot she's a footballer. So this, because she talked about how the last chapter was originally meant to be for her mother, is a dedication to her mother. But the last chapter ends up being about the England women's football team winning the Euros. And I was like, oh no, this book is going to be about football. Because I'm not a sports person. So yes, I probably should have, my family all laughed at me because they were like, you do know that she is a footballer, so she's going to be talking about sport. So it was really enjoyable considering I had just finished Matthew Perry's whenever I started this. Two completely different people. Now they both came from broken homes, but one person's father wanted to be in the relationship and another person's father did not. These two people reacted completely different, so it was a completely different kettle of fish for these two. Throughout the memoir, Alex Scott does not stop. Throughout her life, she just does not stop. She constantly goes, and it's very motivating. It is a very motivational book for someone who just does not stop. She just keeps going and keeps pushing. As I said there, comparing with Matthew Perry, she came from a broken household. Her mother and father were together, but her father abused her mother. It made me cry. It broke my heart, because at one point she talks about laying at her bed crying, scared to wake up in the morning because she's worried that her mother will be dead in the morning, which really broke my heart. And it's great that she can tell these stories, that she can tell her truth. And she does, at one point she does talk to the people who know her father and say that they have a completely different person than who she was, who she grew up with. And her father was a completely different person when he was on alcohol, and which comes back later. But when her father had been drinking, he was a completely different person. And he was very strict, and she says she didn't get hugs when her father was there, and her father withdrew love. One of the things that really struck me was she talks about she was playing in like a wasteland bit, and she was told, you cannot, her and her brother Ronnie were told, you cannot leave this area. And the ball went over, and they usually have someone kick it back over, but at this point no one came, and they waited, and her brother ran over, and they're constantly looking at the window hoping their father didn't see, and they grab the ball and then look up and think that they've done it, they're okay, and so they play, and then all of a sudden he shouts over to them and calls them in, and they come in terrified, and he makes them throw all their toys out for doing this. And it breaks my heart. The whole thing just broke my heart. It's such a sad moment in her life, but it makes her stronger. Her mother kicks him out and he takes everything. He leaves with everything and leaves them with nothing. Her single mother has to do everything for them because her father won't do anything. She recalls at one point she rings her father and asks for football boots, and he then consults his then girlfriend, and they decide that no, girl shouldn't be playing football, so you will not be getting the £20 for a new pair of football boots. And at that point they decide never to ask him for anything again. Alex Scott hero worshipped her father. Her father was such an important aspect of her life. But one of the things that I didn't know about Alex Scott that I really connected with was Alex Scott is dyslexic, and I had no clue about that. She hides it so well. She does really, really well with it. When she was younger, she couldn't speak, and I have problems speaking, and so I have a lot of editing that I usually need to do in videos. So I could really relate to her, and it was heartbreaking. At the start of the book, she talks about how, because she went into presenting, people didn't really want someone like her who spoke like her. I don't think it was anything to do with her race or anything. It was the way she spoke. It was because of her London accent. Now, I will admit that whenever I was listening to her audiobook, I did have to listen to it at the normal speed because she spoke a bit quicker, and because to get everything in, I find if I listened to it at my normal speed that I would listen to my audiobooks, I didn't get everything in because I wanted to appreciate everything she was saying and to digest everything she was saying. Considering I listened to her, I would watch the one show and other stuff that she's presenting, and she is presenting Children Need this year. I have no issue with that. Like, I had no problem with her presenting the Olympics. I enjoyed listening to her talk it, and she does cry. I mean, she admits herself that she is crying in the audiobook whenever she talks about it. I mean, she is amazing. I really recommend this audiobook. This book in general, I truthfully, before it got to the main football bit, whenever it talked about football forever and ever and ever, it felt like it was going on for forever. I was at the point where I thought everyone should read this book. All women should read this book. I think it is a fantastic portrayal of a strong woman who is learning not to be strong, not to do everything herself, and to let other people in. That's the whole point of this book. The point is how she is learning not to be strong, not to take on the world, and to finally let someone in, and to be soft. Football isn't my thing, which probably isn't the best idea to read a book about a football player. But I enjoyed it. As I said, football isn't my thing, and there was a lot of stuff that went over my head, and she talks an awful lot about female footballers and everything, and I don't really know them, so they really did go over my head, which was fine. And I'm glad that all the stuff about the female footballers was in there for the fans of female football, because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear her talk about her interactions with the other players. But I definitely preferred the emotional stuff before the football. One of the things I didn't realise was that she had a degree in presenting. One of the things might have been me being naive, but I thought that I didn't realise she'd done all this stuff before Strictly. I know her from Strictly, so I presumed that she had got the job at BBC, all the BBC jobs that she got because of Strictly. I didn't realise that she had done a degree in presenting, which shows how naive I am, that I thought that just because they liked her that they would do this for her, and that all of the people that are on my screens more than likely have done a degree in presenting, which I feel like I've just presumed they got it because they're friends with the network and or they have a friend there. I didn't realise that they had to work to get this, and I feel really ignorant on that. I'm glad that she was able to do that, and that she had the strength too, and that she knew that there was life after women's football, that it came to fruition, that she had a plan and that she achieved that plan. One of the real things that she points out in the book is the difference between women's football and men's football. the many differences that are going on, she ends up in the laundry service for Arsenal football. I mean, she loves Arsenal, and that's who she played for, and that's who she is. She is an Arsenal girl through and through, as she says constantly. But she ends up in the laundry service so she can get a wage, because she's not getting paid for football. I mean, men's football get paid bonkers amount, but the women aren't getting anything. I'm not 100% sure what it is now, but I can understand why, because the women aren't bringing anything in money-wise, because the women's football wasn't on TV, and it was hard for people to come and watch the game. And I'm glad that women's football has become a much more predominant thing, and mostly because of the Americans, because of the American soccer team. And when I say football, I am English. I am English? I am not English. I am British. It's heartbreaking, and one of the things that comes about at one point is Arsenal are going to Iraq to erect this football. I think it's a football court, or a fencing area for underprivileged children in Iraq, so they can have an outlet to play and to have football. Alex Scott really resonates with this, because football was her outlet for the domestic abuse that she was going on at home, and all the problems that she had, the fact they had no money and everything. And so she really wanted to give back, and so she really wanted to, she had been asked to go to Iraq, and she wanted to go and do this. Her manager told her no. Her manager said, no, you have to tell my bosses no. Alex Scott was not happy with this. She went home and then realised that it's bigger than her. And the only reason that she was told that her manager was saying no was because of politics, because of football, for in-team politics, because she was going off to do this, and the other teammates will be like, and Alex Scott was like, doesn't matter what I do on my 2 days off. You know, it's my days off. I can do whatever I want. So she went back and said, no, I am doing this. And it was meant to be a member from the men's Arsenal football team and the female Arsenal football team. And they both go together and do this. When she got on the plane, she realised that the men's football team, he was too scared. He was too scared to go to Iraq and do this. And Alex Scott felt so privileged by it, and she felt really privileged to be able to do this, that she was able to give back. And I think it's amazing that she does this, and there's many stories throughout this where she gives back. She just comes off so lovely. There's a light in her, and you can feel this light. I didn't realise she was in a relationship with a woman at one point, and an alcoholic woman at that. And I'm surprised that she stayed in the relationship for so long with an alcoholic, considering the state of her father and her relationship with her father. I mean, it didn't seem to have gone into an abusive relationship, but the fact that alcohol was so prominent in her relationship with her father, that she stayed in it, she did think she could change her. So I was really surprised about that. I did cry a little bit in this book. She doesn't really talk about racist abuse and everything. She talks a little bit about it, but not very much about it. Near the end, she is in Russia, and she's commentating on one of the things in BBC. I think it's for one of the men's football things. I cannot remember the exact specifics. He ends up, her and Rio Ferdinand go and meet Vladimir Putin and get pictures taken with them and everything, because they're for football. And she looks around the room, and she's the only woman that's in the room, which is fine. Oh well, it's not really fine, but you know, it's to do with football. So she goes out for dinner and does other things throughout the day, and to get back to her hotel, she gets an Uber, and she gets into the Uber. Guy can't really speak much English, and so they're using Google Translate, and she's like, that's fine, you know, you can't speak, and she gives them the address. And then at one point he turns around and he's like, you will never see your friends again. And she's like, what? Thinking that it's a translation issue, but he repeats it, something along those lines, and he repeats it, and that he's going to kill her, that she's never gonna see her friends again, and that he kills girls like her. And whether he is referring to the colour of her skin, because we're in Russia, whether he's talking about the colour of her skin, the fact she's a woman, or the fact that where she's from, if she's English, or if it's the way she's dressed. Not that any of those reasons are any reason to kill someone or to hurt them or to punish them or do anything like that to another human being is any reason. But I stopped dead in my tracks. I was like, what on earth? I mean, I wouldn't have been scared to go into a car, and the fact that it is, well, I presume that it was because of the colour of her skin, and I've never had that ever come into it where I'm scared to go in, that someone's going to kill me just because of the colour of my skin. In the end, the only thing that saves her is the fact that she had a picture with Vladimir Putin earlier on that day, and she says that she is going to go see Putin tomorrow, and that is the only thing that saves her life. That, I think, is one of the really scary bits in this book, is, and I don't think, she doesn't even talk about reporting it or anything, because she just brushes it off and is strong and shows, you know, oh, there's no, and I started thinking, but he has said that he has done this to others, so you're stopping, there are other people that are at risk, not just you. And it really, really touched me. She does talk about her race. I mean, she has, because her mother is white, her mother didn't know how to do her hair, so she learned her hair, how to do her hair, from her grandmother, her nan, who taught her, who was her father's mother. And considering her father wasn't a big part in her life, her nan was. I'm glad that she had that relationship with her nan. And she did talk a little bit about her stint on Who Do You Think You Are, and finding out that her family, that she came from a family of slave owners, and how that felt for her. I did enjoy this memoir, and I do recommend it. And actually, I recommend it for men to read as well, because men might be more interested in it because of the football, because they would know more of the football than I would. And I was speaking to one of the guys in work, and who listens to football, and he knows who she is, and he's not a reader, and he would be interested in it. And so I do think it's maybe a good idea for a man's Christmas present, which actually I never thought to give it to a man for a Christmas present, but actually it might be something they would be interested in. So, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope this gives you some insight into if you want to read it or not. But please, if you like this video, please like it, and if you want more content, please subscribe. And yes, if you have read this book, please comment down below on your views on it, and please be nice. And I hope you enjoy your day. So thank you for watching. Bye.